Not yet.
Oh, okay.
We are live now.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The first item is the adoption of the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Say aye, because I can only see one person
Oh,
at a time.
okay. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Okay, so 6-0. The first item is old business 2A, review gating criteria.
If you don't mind, I'll share my screen to look at the gating criteria here. Okay, can you all see the USD 373 gating criteria there? Okay.
Yeah.
I can.
Any questions? Remember, we had the addition of Opportunity Academy, and some that we look at the data. Here's what's going to be kind of weird today, folks, is that the numbers really aren't current, and that the KDHE doesn't do their upload or doesn't produce their numbers until 12:30. So kind of with the decision you'll make for this mode of operation for the next week, it's kind of a week behind. So we're looking at some of the same numbers that we would have looked at last week, which is just kind of what that is, I suppose. So are there any questions?
Can we wait until when the state puts out their data at noon to make a decision for the next mode of operation?
We would have to have another special meeting to do so.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay with whatever the group would like to do here.
I would rather wait a couple of hours than use old, outdated data.
Fred,
Yes.
can you pull up the KDHE website and go to the school metrics and look at a piece of that? Because they have updated information in one portion of it that may be helpful.
Yeah, it's a little like with our health department data. We've got some stuff up through the 18th, and so I've got that disease spread from that what we had done before. But yes, I can. But the percent positive numbers won't be out.
You just have to use the numbers and calculate them yourself, since you're right, they haven't officially updated that till this afternoon.
So, Fred, where are we at right now in each of the categories?
Well, based upon the numbers that I have, like I said, these aren't accurate today. You know what I mean? When we look in terms of the trend, now when I went to the Harvey County site and pulled off the cases in recovery over time, using these numbers here, 331, and then going back to 14 days, we had the 25 cases between September 15th to the 18th. Okay, and then we had the 2 weeks prior to that, 269 to 301, so 32. So we had a difference of 7, which would have put that down, put that as a green. But I'm not 100%, that's just off of their site. This is that disease spread from the county once again, or from the KDHE site. It shows a trend is down.
Okay. And then about the student attendance, how's that?
Student attendance were pretty good. Staff attendance, we had 13% this last week. We usually have about a 10.87%, so we're within 3% of that, obviously. So that puts us there at a green. In student attendance, we were 98 or 94.83%, and the 3-year average was 94.3. So we're still green there. Yeah, that's why if we do make this decision today, I'd be real hesitant to go more than a week, only because, or if you made it now, only because it doesn't have that updated information that will come out at 12:30. Because in talking with Lynette, the trend last week here at Harvey County is up in terms of number of cases. So it's just where we are as it relates to those numbers and when they're released.
Okay, and then the last thing is the percent positive.
Yeah, when you look at the Harvey County site, once again, Harvey County site shows 4.93, but that's only through the 12th. Or probably 5.93, but that's only through the 12th.
Right.
And the percent positive here for Harvey County they've got, and I did not pull that data off, but it's also not current. It's also not current with the new data that they'll have at 12:30.
Okay, so then we're green, and yellow. Is that what, based on the numbers we have right now?
Based upon those numbers, yes. But I do think that like this trend data might change a little bit, but I just don't have the numbers.
Right.
If you calculated it based upon what I had pulled for the 6th and the 13th, our positivity rate was 4.0%, but that's not accurate. That is not at all accurate.
Can you explain why that isn't accurate?
Well, because it's, I don't have all of the numbers. You know what I mean? And I'm just hoping and praying that I would get them, but I just didn't get them.
Who are you waiting to get those numbers from, the county?
Actually, the percent positive stuff will come from the state, and that's what the county will reflect. Will be that percent positive from the KDHE numbers. That's what they're doing now.
Hey, one other thing, Matt, that I wanted to bring up to the team here is I've gotten some emails, and I was pretty gung-ho about the weekly meetings that we're having now. And I don't know if this is the right time to interject this, but I think we've all gotten a few emails, because I know some of them were general to everybody, and I've got a couple of them. And I don't know if they just put your name in there and sent the same email or what. But it sounds like the stress level for some people is really high for teachers that also have families, because they're seeing it from both sides. So they're looking at their operating modes on a weekly basis versus, and also having a family to tote around. So I don't know if this is the right time to also check, should we extend these decisions we make a little bit longer? And would that help us with some of these issues that we're having with numbers and crunching numbers and waiting for numbers? Does that make sense?
Yeah, Andy, it's Melissa, and I was having those same thoughts. Like you have, and probably all of us, we've gotten emails and had conversations about this is too frequent on a weekly basis for planning purposes, not only for the families, but definitely for the teachers. So if we want to extend this a little bit longer than on a weekly basis, I would be in favor of that, just to kind of help ease that stress level for our staff and families.
Yeah, and I just want to add one more thing. One of the ones that stuck out to me was a parent that was and teacher that seemed very nervous about us going back to school. And so when she said maybe even 4 weeks at a time, I was like, wow. That stood out to me as that we're causing that much pressure, or helping create some of this pressure from somebody that's on both sides of the coin. That just stuck out to me as a red flag of maybe this is a little much for our team or teachers and families.
else want to talk about the frequency at all?
I would just echo what Andy and Melissa have said. I think we're getting a number of the same emails, so I'm hearing the same thing as well. And in the meeting where we decided to go 1 week, if I remember correctly, I said I could go either way. So if we do want to extend to a couple weeks or whatever that may look like, I'm okay with that. I wouldn't want to go for a significantly longer period of time. I'm not comfortable with that right now, but I wouldn't mind going a little longer than 1 week at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Initially, I wanted to go every 2 weeks, but everybody else wanted 1 week, so that was fine with me. But I would definitely be in favor of extending to give everybody more time to stay in the mode they're in and continue that. So, and I'll just add in, if I have no problem waiting to do a second special meeting until we get updated numbers. It's just up to everybody else. I want to make the most accurate decision that we can. So,
I am not available this afternoon, so that's why I wanted to do it at 10:30. So,
Yeah, I have scheduling conflicts too for this afternoon, Matt.
okay.
It's Melissa.
This is Mallory, and I will not be available this afternoon either.
Okay. I kind of like us to keep as many of us in this loop as possible, so I think we just go ahead and push forward this morning with making a decision. So I think the first thing we need to do is the mode of operation.
Matt,
Yeah.
what about just waiting until tomorrow morning?
No, I'd like to just get this done and get it over with.
One thing, if you go 1 week this time, okay, and if it's the current mode, then next week you'll be able to then correspond with board meeting nights. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's one thing to think about. Like I said, if you're going to make the decision based upon these numbers are essentially a week old in some cases. So it's almost like having gone the 2 weeks based upon what the status is. I don't care about the special board meetings. It's all on your guys' plate. Somebody's going to pay me, on those days anyway. So I'm here. So whatever you guys want to do there, but at least it would then coincide with the board meeting dates. So totally up to you guys.
Sorry to interrupt. This is Mallory. I understand what you're saying, and I would be hesitant to go longer if we didn't have a piece of the information from KDHE. I understand that there could be a slight delay in reporting, and it might not be the exact number, but they are giving us information for this past week as well, Fred, that I believe was under the second point in the information you were showing us that you created in one of your documents.
In this,
I think so.
Here?
Yeah. Scroll up.
these actually came from the Harvey County side.
I think it was on the point there, that point number 2, where the state is giving us some numbers for the week of the 13th, which was last week through Saturday. So at least we can see those numbers from the state, so it's not a completely blank week that we're not aware of. And also with that, are we going to have this issue every time?
Only if we have a 10:30 meeting. You know, you could go Tuesday. If you did it for Tuesday, we would make sure we would have the numbers. You know what I'm saying? So if we do it on a Monday at a 10:30, then yes, we'll have that every time. It's got to be sometime in the afternoon. I would prefer 2 o'clock or so. Obviously, that gives me enough to make sure that the numbers are right.
I know a neighboring district has decided that Friday afternoon is their cutoff point to where they're using that time to look at numbers. Now, granted, you would have a weekend in there that you wouldn't know about, And I know we would like up to the minute numbers, but there comes a time where we just have to draw a line and say this is the point we have to look at to make decisions for our family, because if we wait until Tuesday and we go 1 week at a time, that's even one less day that our families have. So I'm really hesitant to push it further into the week for that reason.
Okay, so I think the first thing we have to do here is decide what mode we're going to be in, and then we can decide how long will keep us in that mode, okay? So using today's numbers, we would be in the green.
Yes.
Matt, do you want a motion?
Yes, please.
Okay. I move to approve the green mode of learning for the week of September 28th.
Yes.
Correct.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the mode?
Was that second, Andy?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we'll just, all those in favor, if you can do it one at a time.
Aye.
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 Melissa, I.
Okay, so 6-0 on the mode. And then the next thing, if you want to, how long we do it for, whether it's for a week or longer.
Do we need an actual motion for that?
Yeah, please.
I move to approve that we extend our mode of learning length to 2 weeks at a time.
Could we, this is Mallory. I know there's some hesitation in there, and we do have a board meeting Monday. I'm in favor of extending it for 2 weeks with the understanding that if something changes dramatically before our board meeting, then next Monday we could make a change. Is that okay with everyone?
Great idea, Mallory.
Are you saying you want to make it 2 weeks on today's decision, or 2 weeks starting when we make the decision on Monday, next Monday at our board meeting?
I'm okay with saying 2 weeks today, but if something were to break loose and spiral out of control before next Monday at our board meeting, then next Monday we could revisit the second week. But yes, I'm in favor of 2 weeks starting on today's motion.
So what's going to be considered dramatic?
Good question.
That's a very good question.
If you jump a couple of categories and percent positive or trend, I think that becomes pretty dramatic then, you know? I mean, we
Missed
just
the
have
first part, Fred.
if you jump a couple of categories in any of these, I think that's pretty dramatic, you know. And I think you kind of need to leave that little caveat all the time. I mean, if we had something just like this last week, you guys saw that Bueller was closing the school, I believe until the 28th. Is that? I think it was till the 28th or something like that.
Yeah, for a week.
Yeah. So I mean, you always got to leave that out.
I say if we jump from a green to an orange in some category, where we're, like Fred's saying, jumping a couple of categories, that's definitely worth stopping and taking a look at, which, like he mentioned, we would do either way, but I just want people to feel comfortable knowing that we're going to continue to watch it even when we make a 2-week decision.
Well, and we did talk about this being a living document, and that it's going to be ever changing based on whatever happens. So I'm okay with that.
Okay, so would that be your motion then, Jen?
So would you like me to add on to my motion
Yeah.
that the week of October 5th as well as green?
Right.
Okay, I'll just repeat here. I move that we approve the green mode of learning for the weeks of September 28th and October 5th.
Second, this is Mallory.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Jennifer?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Angela?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Mallory?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so 6-0. Okay, I think that's it for our agenda, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, 6-0. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day.